1 minute, you're laughing at a family barbecue. 10 minutes later, you can't lift your coffee cup or finish a simple sentence. That's how a stroke can rewrite a life without asking permission. The frightening part is that many people don't feel dramatic pain, so they wait, hoping the symptoms will disappear. Every minute that passes, brain cells are lost, and some of that damage can never be reversed. The good news is that your brain often sends warning signals before the situation gets even worse. If you know what those signals look like and what to do next, you could save your own life or someone else's. Stay with me, because one simple memory trick could become the most important thing you learn today. A stroke happens when part of the brain suddenly stops getting the blood it needs, or when a blood vessel inside the brain bursts. Brain cells depend on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients. Cut that supply off, even briefly, and those cells begin to die. Think of it like a city losing electricity during rush hour. Traffic freezes, communication breaks down, and every delay creates new problems. Most strokes are ischemic strokes. That means a blood clot blocks an artery supplying the brain. A smaller number are hemorrhagic strokes, caused by bleeding inside or around the brain. Different causes, same emergency. In both cases, every minute matters. Here's what surprises many people. A stroke doesn't always announce itself with dramatic collapse. Sometimes it starts with something that feels almost ordinary. A smile suddenly looks uneven in a family photo. One arm feels strangely weak while carrying groceries. Words come out scrambled, even though the person knows exactly what they want to say. Those aren't random glitches. They're warning signs. That's why medical professionals often teach the FAST test. Stands for face. Ask the person to smile. Does one side droop? A stands for arms. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift downward? S stands for speech. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. Is it slurred, confused, or difficult? T stands for time. If you notice any of these signs, call emergency services immediately. Don't drive around looking for advice. Don't wait for symptoms to improve. Time really is brain. Other symptoms can appear too. Sudden numbness on one side of the body. Trouble seeing from one or both eyes. Unexpected dizziness. Loss of balance. Or difficulty walking. A severe headache with no obvious cause, especially if it's unlike any headache before, can also signal a hemorrhagic stroke. Not every person experiences every symptom, which is exactly why strokes can fool people. One common mistake is blaming everything on being tired. Someone says, "I probably just need coffee." Another says, "I slept funny." The brain, meanwhile, is practically waving a giant red emergency flag. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't send reminder notifications every 5 minutes. Here's why acting fast changes everything. Some people with ischemic stroke may be eligible for treatments that restore blood flow if they reach the hospital quickly enough. Those treatments have strict time windows. Waiting several hours because someone wanted to finish a meeting or watch the rest of a football game can permanently reduce those options. The effects of stroke can range from mild to devastating. Some people recover remarkably well with rapid treatment and rehabilitation. Others may face paralysis, difficulty speaking, memory problems, vision changes, trouble swallowing, or challenges with thinking and emotions. Even simple daily activities like buttoning a shirt or making breakfast can become difficult. The emotional consequences are often overlooked. Imagine understanding every word your family says, but struggling to answer. Imagine wanting to hug your grandchild, but your arm refuses to cooperate. Stroke doesn't just affect muscles. It can affect independence, relationships, confidence, and mental health. Now let's talk about why strokes happen in the first place. High blood pressure is one of the biggest risk factors because it damages blood vessels over time. Smoking increases the risk by harming blood vessels and making blood more likely to clot. Diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, physical inactivity, excessive alcohol use, and certain heart conditions, including atrial fibrillation, also raise the risk. Age increases risk, but stroke is not limited to older adults. Younger adults can experience strokes too. Some risk factors cannot be changed. You can't choose your age or rewrite your family history, but many of the biggest risks can be reduced. That's encouraging because prevention isn't built on one magical habit. It's built on many small decisions repeated consistently. Keep blood pressure under control. Follow your healthcare provider's advice if medication is prescribed. Stay physically active most days of the week. Eat more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins while limiting excessive sodium and heavily processed foods. If you smoke, quitting is one of the strongest investments you can make for your brain and heart. If you have diabetes or high cholesterol, managing those conditions carefully also makes a real difference. Sleep deserves more respect than it usually gets. Poor sleep and untreated sleep apnea may contribute to cardiovascular problems. Your brain isn't being lazy while you sleep. It's performing essential maintenance. Skipping that maintenance night after night eventually sends a bill. Regular medical checkups matter because high blood pressure and high cholesterol often have no obvious symptoms. They're quiet problems with loud consequences. Waiting until you feel sick doesn't always work because these conditions may stay silent for years. Let's clear up one dangerous myth. Some people think stroke only happens to unhealthy people. That's simply not true. Healthy-looking individuals can still have strokes, especially if underlying medical conditions go unnoticed. A healthy lifestyle lowers risk, but it doesn't create absolute immunity. Knowing the warning signs remains essential for everyone. If you ever witness someone showing possible stroke symptoms, stay calm, but act immediately. Call emergency services. Note when the symptoms first began if possible. Don't offer food, drinks, or medications unless instructed by medical professionals. Quick medical evaluation gives the best chance for effective treatment. Here's the remarkable part. Thousands of people recover, rebuild skills through rehabilitation, and regain meaningful independence. The brain has an incredible ability to adapt, especially when treatment and therapy begin early. Recovery may take patience, but progress is possible. The biggest lesson isn't to live in fear. It's to replace panic with preparation. Learn the signs, remember fast. Take prevention seriously before an emergency happens, not after. Your brain quietly powers every memory, conversation, laugh, and dream you have. Protecting it may be one of the smartest decisions you'll ever make, because when seconds decide the future, knowledge becomes action, and action can save a life. If you'd like, I can also optimize this script for a 350-second TTS pace, with stronger retention beats every 20 to 30 seconds, or adapt it to a more cinematic or documentary-style delivery.